Thank you for being with us this morning. The vote was decisive, but by any means it wasn't a landslide. So have we seen and heard the last of Scottish independence?
Well, first of all, good morning from Edinburgh. It's good to talk to you, and I suspect that, for the moment at least, this decision is as decisive as it needs to be. The margin is slightly larger than was predicted in the final days of campaigning, and I think the margin is large enough to say that for now the question of Scottish independence is off the table, but political reform is very much on the table, and that will be UK-wide as well as in Scotland.
I want to play you a bit of what Prime Minister David Cameron said right after the vote and get your reaction. Take a listen.
Just as the people of Scotland will have more power over their affairs, so it follows that the people of England, Wales and Northern Ireland must have a bigger say over theirs. The rights of these voters need to be respected, preserved and enhanced.
In fact, you suggest a constitutional commission to rebuild public confidence in the UK government. What steps, concrete steps, would you like to see?
Well, I think there's a real disconnect now between the centre, the political centre, if you like, the establishment in the United Kingdom, based around the metropolitan area in London, both in politics but also in the media and in business, where the rest of the country feels disenfranchised from what is going on. And that's been best seen here in Scotland, but it's also been seen in northern English towns and in other parts of the UK as well. We need to take a number of steps to re-engage people and to re-energise interest and belief in governance and politics in the UK. For one thing, for example, I would do away with the House of Lords I'm a member of and replace it with a second chamber that reflects the nations and regions of the country, so that everybody feels they've got a voice at the centre. But I also think the mainstream political parties need to reform the way that they operate to give people real choice, to decentralise power away from the centre, and to make sure that happens elsewhere, not just here in Scotland.
You know, when there is a contest like this, one side wins, but the other side loses. For the 45% of the Scots who voted yes, what do you say to them?
Well, I think, and we've seen some signs of this already this morning, I think the leaders of those parties who were campaigning for a no vote need to reach out to those voters. Many of those voters have never voted before. Most of them are really angry with the system, not necessarily just interested in Scottish independence. Many of them living in conditions that are unacceptable in the 21st century. And the mainstream political parties need to address these people and their issues much more effectively than they have done in the past. The turnout last night in Scotland was somewhere in the margins of 85 to 90%. An incredible turnout at this point in politics, not really seen anywhere where there's not compulsory voting. And that is a challenge to those mainstream parties, that they need to reach out to those people who are voting, who don't normally vote, and give them a reason to vote at election time that is about addressing their issues and speaking on their behalf.